Why do you sit on it today? That one over there.
But this is more than
Yeah, they are.
considering it's a summer also.
Very fortunate. And a hush descends nearly everywhere. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Six, we're alive and we're involved with the greatest truth. So spread that joy. A very good morning to all our friends joining us online as well across the world. Welcome to our Sunday morning service. A great delight to welcome back to our platform an absolutely beautiful person, Minister Kim Moore-Cullen. Kim, so looking forward to your work today, and it's been an absolute pleasure hosting you during this time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you too to the lovely husband, Richard. Thank you, sir, for being here. I'll stop waffling now, and we will get on with the business of the day. So if I could hand over to you, Kim, for the opening blessing. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Please join me in a quiet time of prayer. Infinite Spirit, Father God, as we come into your power and your ever-loving presence, we are reminded that we too are your children, that light of your infinite and eternal energy source is part of us, part of our true selves. And in this quiet time, as we let go of all of the cares of our day and our life, we are reminded that that essence of the divine is flowing through us. This time we are mindful of all of those who cannot be with us and those who are on beds of sickness or have a need. And our hearts and minds join together in this place and ask those ministering angels to send forth that love that knows no bounds, that will bring healing and upliftment wherever it is needed. And in this quiet time, may we become aware of that true light of the Spirit that offers us guidance, that shows that path that we are to tread. May we feel our loved ones joining us in this place, our family and our friends and those who have touched our lives in so many ways. Give thanks for the knowledge that life is eternal. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Kim. Beautiful. And now, if you care to, please join in with saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thine will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not when in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. And now we bring our thoughts, our energies, our hearts and our minds into that art and practice of healing. Each and every one of us are healers. We are each capable of sending out love. And what is healing? But love. It is wanting the best for people. It is wanting relief from pain and situations. And we all do these and many other things under the name of love. So during this time, guided by some gentle music, we'd invite you to send out your thoughts and prayers to those who you may know who need that extra love around them, out to the environment, the world, the political leaders, wherever you are drawn, because your healing is your route between you and the team that work with you in spirit. Additionally, we'd like to invite you also, if there is anyone you know who at this particular time is in a special need of the healing vibrations, if you just raise your hand, when I point at you, simply call out their name, because you're adding that voice vibration to the overall energy that is being created here and now in this time and space. divine and infinite Spirit, grand architect of all that was, that is, and that can be. We thank you for this reminder at this time that we ourselves can send out that healing vibration, that love, that upliftment to wherever and whenever we so choose. Amen.
Amen.
Now I'd like to invite Minister Kim for your reading and your address today, please. Please.
It's lovely to see so many people here today. So I'm going to read to you The Littlest God, which is from The Magic of Metaphor by Nick Owen. It wasn't long after the gods had created humankind that they began to realize their mistake. The creatures they had created were so adept, so skillful, so full of curiosity and the spirit of inquiry that it was only a matter of time before they would start to challenge the gods themselves for supremacy. To ensure their preeminence, the gods held a large conference to discuss this issue. The gods were summoned from all over the known and unknown worlds. The debates were long, detailed, and soul-searching. All the gods were very clear about one thing. The difference between them and mortals was the difference between the quality of the resources that they had. While humans had their egos and were concerned with the external material aspects of the world, the gods had spirit and soul and an understanding of the workings of the inner self. The danger was that sooner or later the humans would want some of that too. The gods decided to hide their precious resources. The question was, where? This was the reason for the length and passion of the debates at the great conference of the gods. Some suggested hiding these resources at the top of the highest mountain, but it was realized that sooner or later the humans would scale such a mountain, and the deepest crater in the deepest ocean would be discovered, and mines would be sunk into the earth, and the most impenetrable jungles would give up their secrets, and mechanical birds would explore the sky and space, and the moon and the planets would become tourist destinations, and even the wisest and the most creative of the gods fell silent, as if every avenue had been explored and was found wanting, until the littlest god, who had been silent up until now, spoke up. Why don't we hide these resources inside each human? They'll never think to look for them there.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So, ladies and gentlemen, when we think of mankind and man's evolution on our physical world in this physical body, our earth suit, we might think of ancient cultures and philosophies like the Egyptians and the Greeks and the Romans and prehistoric man. And what we'll see is man trying to understand his place in the world. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Trying to understand the forces of the natural world that are, one year the crops are great, the next year they are failing, and we understand that all too powerfully now, do we not? And so in this dynamic between man and nature and, these events that happened, there was this idea that perhaps there was a god of the fields and a god of the river and a god that did the creative side of things. And so man personified God, which is interesting, don't you think, when you consider we're spiritualists. Man personified God, but put it into statues and idols. And I love this little metaphor because it teaches us quite a lot about man and man's evolution here. And we as spiritualists know that man doesn't just stop evolving here. Man is not only trying to learn about his life and his way of being in this world and being as a community together and all the ups and downs of that. No, man is also trying to reach out to space and find out how we were created. In the days that we have now, we want to know more and more. You know, we look at the telescopes, we look at the universe, we try and find out, is there life anywhere else, or is there only life here? And how did life start, and why did life start? And we start to explore all of this now. So we have moved on, have we not? But are we forgetting something? That we have to be like that which we came from. We have to explore the fact, now that we have the knowledge and awareness and the growth as a human race, that we are intertwined with the life of our planet. But not just that, that things didn't just start with a big bang. I'm always very interested in the scientific side of things. I always wondered, well, what came before the Big Bang? And of course now we know, ladies and gentlemen, that we've got some more knowledge about that. And it is, as I was always led to believe by the spirit team that work with me, that there was this something else, this sea of energy, that was in fact the creative principle of our physical universe. It started as a sea of energy. So like I've always said, everything is energy. And what's more, they've discovered that where this sea of energy was, there are these ripples. And I ask myself, well, if this energy is our source and created all that, created the Big Bang, which was an expansion, and out came all the particles that form our known universe, what was the force within the source that created those ripples? An interesting question, would you agree?
Yeah.
So I think that force within the source is our creator. It is that God force. And we have to be the same as that which we came from. So we are in fact technically correct in saying we are stardust. We're all sparkling in our own unique way. It is the essence of our physical being, but more than that, all the particles in our body talk to each other with beams of light at a cellular level. So I like to think that we are energy because we came from energy. We came from that force within the source of energy. And that force is a part of us. It created us. It's a place we came from, a place we're going to go back to. And as Wayne Dyer would say, you know, if you have an apple pie in front of you and you cut it up, any part of that apple pie should have the same ingredients in it from which it came. So you cannot be where God is not. And so we come back to this reading, this idea of we have the resources and the ingredients that we need for our life, both in a physical sense, to learn and to grow, but in an energetic sense. And I love to think of the universe in a spiritual way. I don't know how many of you remember the very first Star Wars. Because I do, 1977, and I'm not ashamed to say it. But this was a real key for me in my early understanding of spirit. I thought, I love that idea that there are Jedi Knights balancing out the forces of the universe, and we are part of that, aren't we? Yes, do you want to be a Jedi Knight or not?
Oh yeah.
I do. I want to be you can be that. I want to be like that which I came from. And I can't be otherwise, because I came from a source, I'm going back to that source. And when I'm in that purest form, I think that energy is love, because I think love is our superpower. I think that the Jedi Knights and the heroes and the metaphors that we see in the life of our film and our cinemas, you know, all the superhero things, are just really metaphors. They're things perhaps we aspire to. They're ways of understanding the story on a very deep level to associate with this idea of this light and shade, this positive and negative energy, forces at play. And we're trying to understand it through that in our day and age. You know, we're not creating gods like the ancient Egyptians did to try and understand. We're trying to see it in other ways. And I feel very strongly that when we are finding something that connects to us, that has meaning for us, it starts to help us to grow our understanding. And for me, I love the idea of the Jedi Knights. And what I've done is spend my life, like many of you, trying to become sensitive and aware to those ripples in the force. That force which is an absolute infinite source of love and an eternal force. So that tells me that even when the earth suit is gone and it's time for me to put on my space suit, I'm going to transition into that quite seamlessly, because I'm going back to the truth, my natural form. I will be spirit. Silver Birch talks to us in his teachings from Spirit about the fact that we are the Great Spirit. So we don't have to look for God out there. We have to look for the God in here. And I'm hoping that you will understand that when you see a film or a cartoon, that there's always a story behind it and you can relate to it. Because we have all the resources. Sometimes we forget that they're there. How many of you like Kung Fu Panda? Go on. Don't be shy. Okay, well, I love Kung Fu Panda. There's 3 films, and one of the films talks about Po, the dragon warrior as he becomes. You know, this is Kung Fu Panda for those of you who haven't come across it. just saying, you know. We've all got that inner child, and this appeals to mine. But it tells us something, because he was, you know, lost track of his parents. His parents' village of pandas in the mountains was disturbed in a situation, a war-type situation, and he was brought up by a stork who was his father. And the idea is that he loves eating and cooking and so on, and he goes off to this monastery to learn how to become a warrior, you see. And there are other warriors. There's a tigress and a mantis, and they've all got their superpowers, they've all got their skills, their specialities, and they're really there to maintain this balance in the universe. But there's one warrior that went rogue after his training, you know, and there he is, you know, and he wants to get their power, he wants their energy, and he wants to change it so he's in charge of the world, you know. And there's this battle going on. And Po, you know, the unlikely superhero, unfit and not very much into his martial arts, is training, and they soon realise that there's something special about his energy. Cut a long story short, he finds his people, he finds his family. But already this rogue warrior has started taking the light from all of the other warriors that are trying to keep this balance in the universe through their way of being. And there's just Po left to battle this one, who every time he takes somebody else's light and skills, he becomes more and more powerful, and the battles leave the earth and they're raging in the heavens, and the master who was training Po is just really praying that it's all going to come right in the end, because this is the way the world will end if it doesn't. And then the people who are left in Poe's village, who are his parents and his family, are in this film suddenly becoming aware again of something that they had forgotten. They used to have the power of healing, and when they did their superpower of healing, their little paws used to light up. So they all decided that they were going to work together, and they were sending off this light to try and help Poe in his battle against the darkness. And yes, their superpower came back when they worked together. And what was lovely about that film is it ties in very nicely with this idea of the littlest God, that we have the resources within us. We sometimes forget that we're eternal and infinite beings just living this physical life. And when life becomes really challenging and difficult, and we do know that it has been in the last few years, hasn't it? And it will continue to be. There will always be issues to resolve in our personal lives and on the grander scale in our world. But if we remember, ladies and gentlemen, that those resources are within us, if we remember that the light can light up our pores, that if by joining together through the power of prayer, we can bring the light back into the universe, not only into our own lives rather, but into the lives of others, we can become the Jedi Knights of today. There's a lot of research, and I'm a big fan of research on spirituality. There's a lot of research that shows us about the power of prayer, the power of that intention, that when a group of people join together and they bring all their resources and their love, whatever their religion, and of no religion I might add, but they have that positive intention to make a difference. That we know, studies tell us that crime rates go down in the area, cancer patients recover regardless of their outcomes, because this has been tested and it has been proven. So I say to you, every day in every way, remember that you are God. You cannot be where God is not. Okay, it's like that little story, if you will, about the child and the priests and the lamas, and they thought this young child cannot be, the next one, cannot be the next one in power. Let's ask him some questions, And they said, so where is God? And he came up with that idea that it was like an orange, You can peel every segment, but there's always going to be a smaller bit and a smaller bit and a smaller bit. The idea that you cannot be where God is not, because God is within all of us. You can't just answer where is God and say he's there or he's there or he's there. He's in every little thing, every little bit. The idea that we can come together and make a difference, that's what we need to hold on to, because that's our belief that we're eternal and infinite and the resources of the Spirit are within us. Let's not forget that. Let us remember that our light can make a difference, but when we come together, it can make a bigger difference. I'm going to leave you with
that. Wonderful. Thank you. Well, what an address. Yeah, we've got God, we've got the Jedi Knights, llamas and pandas. So it's the address that keeps giving.
But we've got superheroes and superpowers.
And and tomorrow night, healers, I want to see your little paws glowing, all right? Because there are a lot of you in here. That was beautiful, well accomplished, absolutely delivered perfectly. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll now move on to our piece of music for today, which is O Lord my God, When I an Awesome Wonder. During this piece of music, Paul will be taking the collection for the further work of this your church.
Oh Lord.
foot tapping going on out there today. It was lovely. Before I hand over to the wonderful Kim for the demonstration of evidential mediumship, as always, I would remind you this is a conversation. So be part of that conversation. So we like a response with either a yes or a no or a maybe. So.
Yes. No. Maybe.
No excuse, right? Carry on. Minister Kim, thank you.
Okay, so here we are, and this is where we're joining the two worlds, the world unseen and our world. So sometimes I find there's more life in that world than there is in this world, but Laurie's got you well prepared, so that's fine. I've got a gentleman here, and as I link to that gentleman, I know that he passed with a cancer condition. I feel this was cancer of the gut, but I also feel that the throat was affected. And I feel that this gentleman, as I'm becoming more aware of him, was about 5'10", he had greying hair, he is slightly losing his hair, it was receding, it was a little bit patchy. But I know he wasn't ancient when he passed. It feels like he might have been only perhaps in his late 60s, early 70s, you know, he wasn't as old as we know he could have been. And I want to be somewhere on father's side of the family, so it could be father, it could be uncle, I'm not particularly aware at the moment of the total relationship, but I know that I've got the name of Jack being given to me and the name of Jim. Does somebody understand all of this information for me, please?
Possible.
Okay, how can we make that definite? What didn't you understand?
The names I understand. The age was a bit
Yeah.
maybe not.
Okay, the age didn't quite fit. Would you understand he got ill at one age and passed at a different age, and there was periods of treatment that affected him in between, so that would change the span, yes? Okay, then I can understand that. As I'm linking to you, I feel that I want to go towards father's side, you understand that?
Yeah.
And that's where we are. And as this gentleman is a relative of yours, I feel this man was perhaps not a believer in this kind of thing. It was almost reluctant to come. It was like 1 minute he was there, then he stepped back, then he decided he was coming. Would you understand that?
Yeah, he didn't believe anything like that.
He didn't exactly, and I thought, have I got him? Have I not got him? Come on. I'm saying, if you're here and you want to come forward, please, you know, let me have you, as it were. And I think I've got him a bit stronger now. He's decided he's going to talk to us. He's curious. He had a very curious mind, in fact. He was saying to me just then, I like to understand how things worked. And that was very much part of his working life, part of his, it's almost like he would have skills and he would teach them to other people. Would you understand that about him? Yes, that's lovely. So I think he's decided to talk to me, so we're all good. And as I am with him, I feel like the throat was affected, please, and the gut was affected. And it seemed to be draining the life out of him, as he would say, you know. But now he understands, is what he wants me to tell you, yes? Things that he would poo-poo when he was here, he's saying, now I understand. And I'm coming to you because you are searching. He's telling me he's around you because he's aware of you doing a lot of reading, a lot of research, a lot of searching about spiritual matters. It's like a learning process for you. Do you understand this?
I'm doing lots of research.
Yes, that's the
Nothing
research.
to do with spirituality.
Okay, well, let me go with him and see if he can tell me. Because he's talking about reading and research, you see. And I felt that this was opening up something spiritual to him. So as he's coming close to me, seeing this reading and this research, he's telling me about this. And he's showing me that as you are growing in one way, you are discovering that you're opening up in a spiritual way, almost simultaneously. Can you understand it like
Yeah,
that?
it's all linked, isn't it?
That's it, yes. And that's, I think, what he's trying to convey to me and therefore to you. And he's talking about this pathway, and this pathway that he wants to watch you walk, as though as you're growing in this material sense, you're growing in this spiritual sense, and eventually, he's telling me, in some way or other, the spiritual aspect of your life and the material will start to come together. That's really the message he brings. That A, he now believes it because he's here talking to me, okay? He wasn't sure he was going to, but then he did.
Yeah.
That was the first hesitancy, yeah. And now he's saying, I'm going to watch how you start to dovetail your life in. So be prepared for that. And as I leave you with this gentleman, and there's a sense of pride there. Do you understand? A sense of pride in your achievements, and the fact that he can tell you now that he's watching you from the spirit world and how you are growing as a lovely human being, but also as a spiritual being. And that's all he wanted to say. I don't think this man would have hung around and had a long chat. Do you understand?
We didn't ever get on, so that means a lot.
Yeah, yeah. He's saying, I'm not staying. Do you know what I mean? That's what's going on in my head. I'm not staying. I wouldn't have stood around and had a long chat. You know, I'm on my own path, you know,
Yeah.
but I have a sense of pride in yours. So isn't that lovely that he is reflected and grown as we understand in the spirit world, and has been able to come and say that to you today? I'm glad it means a lot to you, because I think he needed to get that off his chest.
Thank you.
I've got a lady here now, and I'd call her small but mighty. As I'm sensing her and coming into her energy, it feels as though this lady was about 5'2", not much more than that if she was a little bit over. And I feel she was slightly rounded, but not too heavy set. And I've got somebody's grandmother here, and I know that she was a force to be reckoned with. The personality that I'm getting, very different to this sceptical gentleman. I feel this lady would be open to a lot of different things, and if you were on that pathway, or any pathway, she would encourage you. This is a lady, I feel, who is grandmother, who you would have seen something of, and I feel that she had a lot of problems with her circulation throughout her life, not just at the end of her life. And I feel that there was sort of a lot of water retention with this lady, and there was a heart condition with this lady, but she was older when she passed. Does somebody understand a grandmother like this? And whoever it is for may have links to other parts of the UK, not just England. We're looking at, yes, okay. Scottish links, please. Welsh. Irish. Other parts of the UK. I did say England. It's going to be one of those mornings, isn't it? Tell me. That's the one I want. Thank you. Okay, you understand the lady and the condition and the grandmother connection, please. And you understand Scottish connections, yes? Thank you. So that helps me to find where I was going. She was very tired at the end of her life, and she's making me aware of that tiredness. Do you understand? But she wants you to know that she's all good now. That's the key to it. And I know that you will know that, because I feel that you've been on a spiritual pathway for quite a while. And this lady's telling me she's been watching you, but also what's more than that, she's been around you, and she's aware that there's been some issues with sleeping. And as she's telling me this, she's saying it's not just the heat, it's almost like the spirit world are around you at night. Would you understand that? And she's bringing this as her message to say, I know what's going on around you, and it's not just the heat. There are changes in the vibrational frequency and the energy around you. This is what she's telling me. And as she comes there, she's talking about an anniversary, please, that is around you, either a month either way. Would you understand that?
Connected with her or someone else? Yes.
I'm not certain, she isn't telling me that. But as I'm linking with her, I feel she wants to say, well, small but mighty is what they would have called me. Yes, I think that she was a feisty lady. I'm aware that not only was she feisty, it seems to me like I could sort the family problems out. If there was anything going on, I'd wade in there and I'd give them a talking to. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. And I feel like with her, the whole sense of her is, I don't like people not to get on, so we've got to get them sorted. And there is an issue that you've been asking Spirit to help you with, that the lady says you know that you've been asking her and other family members to try and help in a personal situation around and about the family. Do you understand? I'm not opening that up, but she's making me aware that actually that's why she's come, you know, not just to give evidence that she's still around, but that she knows what's going on around you. And some of the sleepless nights have been to do with that as well. The lady is saying that this is part of someone's learning and someone's growth, and that you need to, if you will and if you can, kind of become the observer, and that's the best position to be in. But that's her view. What you do is, she's talking to me about an August anniversary, please, and I want to be around the 18th of the month. Would you understand that? She's talking about a book where people write down the birthdays, anniversaries, things like that, as though there's a record in a book. Would you understand that book? You write those things down. I feel like sometimes when you're not in touch with somebody, it's as though she's making me aware that you might strike some through, okay? And that's where you need to look for that, okay? She's talking about having 3 children, and I'm not sure if she's talking about herself or you. Would you understand? Where there are 3. I'm just going to try and get her in a bit clearer. It seems to me like this lady is talking about 3 children, where there are 3 children who are okay, but there are other children who have issues. Would that make more sense? Yeah, that's all right then. I was trying to get it just a bit clearer from her. I think this lady, strong and feisty though she was, her life was very difficult. She's telling me that her life was very difficult. She didn't have a lot of stuff and things, do you understand? And she was challenged. I feel like she might have even done some cleaning or taken in washing and things in her day. Okay, yes. And I feel that what she had was always clean and tidy, but it wasn't posh. That's how she's putting it over. And she's saying, you don't mind about stuff, material things, as long as everybody's happy. So we're going back to this idea of the love is what we leave behind. And I feel as though she's saying, I left a lot of love behind. I didn't leave a lot of stuff for people. And she's saying, where there's a need to help the family, she is there, okay? And she's saying, you can call on me any time. I want you to know that I will be the one helping to sort things out, just as though I did here. And I feel like her idea was have a cup of tea and a chat, do you see what I mean? And then we get a few heads banged together, and then we move forward. And I feel like she wants to put a pot of tea with a tea cosy on, one of the old-fashioned tea cozies, like the knitted ones, and I've got a brown and cream one that she's showing me right now. You understand? She's nodding, by the way. I'd love a yes, because it's not a very loud nod, you see, and we have a problem when we don't have a very loud nod, yeah? And that vibration helps to connect with the vibration of your loved one, because they don't really want to talk to me, they want to talk to you, if you don't mind. And so I feel like she's showing me this, you see, and as she shows me this and tells me her story, cup of tea, chat, piece of homemade cake, and then that's where we chew all the family problems over. So that's the kind of lady that she was, a bit of a matriarchal grandma, really. But she showed me rhubarb, and I feel that rhubarb is something she would have liked, okay? And maybe even was grown, yes, you understand. And I'm seeing sweet peas, as though she loved sweet peas, and that's a memory for you, is it not? Yes. Okay. See, she's talking to me now. It's really it gets faster when you talk to me, because it's that connection, you see. And I want you to know that this lovely lady, feisty and strong, is giving you her strength at this moment in time to just stand back and help and support in your own unique way. I'm going to leave that with you. And as I leave you, I've got the name of Alice. Would you understand that? You don't? Okay, then I'll take that back. Thank you. Okay, I've got a gentleman now, and as I'm linking to this gentleman, I've got the name of George coming to me, and as I'm linking to George, I know that George would be father to someone. It's almost like 1 minute I was here, the next minute I was on the spirit side of life. I went very suddenly, it was a very sudden passing, as though something went or burst within his body, whether it's in his brain or if it was a major artery, like, it just feels to me as though that was the passing that I'm aware of. I've got a gentleman who worked very hard. He used to get quite stressed with his work, quite a slim-built gentleman. Does somebody understand him for me, please, with that name of George coming in as well? You do, and you do.
I've got the name and the passing.
And what about you, my darling?
Yes.
You
Got
do.
the name as well.
The name as well. Okay, and the passing.
And the passing.
Thank you. And the build.
Yeah.
Have you got the build?
He was very thin when he was young.
Yeah.
Very thin.
I want him thin when he was older. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, okay, then I'm here. Thank you very much for speaking to me, but I do feel that I'm here. Can I talk to you, my darling? Okay. He was quite a definite man, wasn't he? You know, what you see is what you get in his character as well. You know, if you ask my opinion, I will give it, and I'll say it how it is. That's a very definite character for me, and this is the gentleman that I'm speaking about. Okay. I know some fathers come all lovey-dovey and that, but I feel this gentleman was more like he wasn't open to showing a lot of emotion.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But you knew he cared, you know, you knew he loved you, but he wasn't overly fluffy about it, if I can put it that way. And as he's making me aware of that and he's telling me his story, I'm seeing him with a lot of either ledgers or books. Do you understand? There's books that he's writing
Oh, yes,
stuff in,
yes.
like you had in the old days, where, you know, before computers and stuff. There were
That's
like
right.
ledgers. Does
That's
that make
right,
sense?
yes.
Writing bits and pieces in
Yes.
these ledgers, because that's
That's
what he
right.
put in front of me. I could see it, and I know he would have had something to do with long service. Whatever he was working at, he actually had something for it, like either a clock or a watch or some memento. He did, didn't he? Because he was very proud of the fact that he'd stuck to it and focused on this work that involved detail and figures and things like that.
That's right.
Yes, that's what he's telling me and that's what he's showing me. And as he's doing that, I think he liked to be smart, you know. He liked to be clean and tidy and
Yes.
smart. He wasn't an overly casual person, you see. That's right, that's good. Okay, now, I've got to ask him why he's here and around you. I'm just hearing June the 17th,
Yes.
and that must be a relevant date for
It
you.
is.
And then he showed it to me, so I thought I've really got to give you the exact date. I'm glad you understand it. Do you understand the name of Dorothy, why you would be speaking about Dorothy?
Yes.
You do, that's
Yes,
lovely.
my mother.
Your mum, okay, so we've got the pair of them. How lovely is that? Or at least I've got him and she's being mentioned. I feel he would have slightly been stronger than mum, do you know what I mean? He
Yes.
would have been the one that did the talking, he would have been the one that made the decisions.
That's right.
Very much as it was in the old days, you know, the man is the man and the woman is the power behind and does the home, you know. But I do feel there was a good relationship there.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
that they were happy together, because he's making me aware of that. Even though it was that traditional kind of role, they
Yes.
were happy. And as I'm going outside of the house, he's showing me almost like a terraced home. Would you understand
Yes,
that?
it was.
And
yes.
we had a yard outside, and he's
Right.
taking me outside. He's very proud of this, you see, because I owned my own place,
That's
and
right.
it was kind of like the first generation that did. He's telling me. And as he does take me through the back door, I feel that there's a yard, and I've got things growing in the yard as though I had places to grow things as well
That's
as
right.
yeah.
Yes.
And you would remember this. And there was a series of houses, but there was what he would call an entry. In the Midlands, we call it an
That's
entry.
right.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
passage through that gets to the back of
Yeah.
all of right. And as he's taking me down memory lane, he's showing me a dresser in the house, as though there would have been particular type of china on this dresser.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, like what I might think of as a Welsh dresser sort of thing.
Yeah.
And this china was only for Sunday best, as it were. It
That's
wasn't
right.
your day to
You
day.
couldn't have it in the week.
No, absolutely not. That cost a lot of money. And it looks to me like a bit floral, do you know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
it
Like
was.
the Royal Albert type
Yes.
stuff, yes? And there are still one or two pieces, I think, of this china. Would you know that?
Yes, yes. I
There
have,
is.
Yes,
And they're a
yes.
pride and joy.
That's
And
right.
they've survived like
Yes.
we have. Do you understand?
Yes.
And I'm asking him why he's coming to speak to you today, and he's telling me that there have been some concerns of a health nature, do you
Yes.
understand? And he said, I wouldn't leave you without letting you know that I was there. And where you've been worrying and concerns is saying, don't worry, don't be concerned, we're on it, do you understand? And so you know that we can't predict and prescribe and
That's
do all
right.
of that, but he's saying, don't worry, we're on it. And whatever that means to you. But I do feel that there may be support and intervention that he's talking about, which you're already aware of. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I'm not predicting, it is
No,
how it is. Yes, it's already in place. And he's telling me that someone else in the family has been through this before, whatever it is.
Yes.
It's private, but you
Yes.
understand that. So he said, we're already aware of what needs to go on. And you've just been saying to the spirit world, I'm not ready to go yet. Is that true?
That's true.
And they said, we don't want you.
I know that.
But in the nicest possible way. Do you see what I mean?
Every time I ask, they send me back.
So stop asking. That's but in a light-hearted way, you've still got loads of stuff to do down here. You understand?
Yes,
So you know, he's just saying, get on with it. You know.
He would.
And that he was very down to earth in that way, you know. And I know that I like to think I'm going to change when I go to the spirit world, and we do know we all change our attitudes, and we move forward in our own unique way when we get to the spirit world, just like we do in the learning school of life. But I feel like he's saying that part of me hasn't changed. What you see is what you get. So he's saying, get on with it.
That's right.
Yes.
That's definitely.
And there are medals. He's showing me medals.
Yes.
And somebody was very proud of these medals, yes?
Yes,
And the
yes.
service that was given. And it was very important. And he's saying he could tell stories of really sticky wickets, you know,
Yes.
real clinches which he didn't think he was going to get out of. But he's saying somebody's still got my medals. Would you understand?
Yes.
And they're still looked at and they're still loved. And we know where they're going next.
Right.
But it's not happening yet, all right? And there's a big gathering at Christmas, as though we've got a big gathering coming up. And not just a family gathering, it's almost like there's a special event. Would you understand what he's talking about? He said,
Yes,
I
do.
already know, I already know.
do.
He said, I've got my invite, I'm coming, you know. And he just wants you to know that, that he loved his life.
Yes,
He loved his work. He was a very dedicated family man. And he's saying, you know, I'm looking out for you.
Okay.
That's all he wants to say.
Yeah.
And get on with it.
Right, thank you. That's lovely.
Okay. So I've got the name of Olive coming in. That happens to be my mother's name, although she's in the spirit world. But I'm hoping that someone else has mum in spirit, but can also, not necessarily hers, understand alongside that the name of Olive. And I've got a lady here who is tall, maybe tall enough to be about 5'6", 5'7", and I feel she'll have to go and have her hair done. And I feel this lady has a breast cancer condition. Can somebody understand this as a family member for them, please? I feel it's a mum or somebody who's like mum to them. Does somebody understand this, please? No? Okay,
I can understand the name of Olive.
you can.
It's not another connection.
Not okay. Okay, I may have a split link and just let me sort it out. So you're the only one who understands an Olive, and I feel Olive would be in the spirit world.
Yes.
Yes, so we'll work with that if I may.
Very thin. There's another one.
Oh, there is. Okay. Don't worry, I'll sort it out.
I understand Olive, but not the breast cancer.
Not the breast cancer, but you understand the breast cancer.
Only in current
Current
somebody's
circumstances.
alive that's had
Okay.
it.
Then I need to bolster up that link. Okay, so I've got this name of Olive. I've got a mum in the spirit side of life who would have been about 5'6", 5'7", and I feel that she loved going and having her hair done. Who understands all of that? You do. Okay, thank you for speaking to me. I'm there. Okay, so as I reiterated that evidence, you can piece all of that together. So you just don't understand a breast cancer condition. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Lovely. So I'll find out where that comes in as we go along. Can you understand a fairly recent loss, please, to the spirit side of life? Yes, thank you, because I think that's what's messing me up, you see. They're not quite sure of the ropes, do you see? So I said, come on, and that's what I got. There's two people here. All right, we have one who hasn't long passed, really, and then we've got the other one who's an old hand at communicating, shall we say. And I feel the old hand at communicating, we're there with the person that came in. and then we've got somebody else that would come alongside her, yes? Alright. So let me just work through that. So I'm being told that there was somebody who passed in the family a long time ago with a cancer in the breast. Okay, and you, I think, can understand it more in that way than with the lady who's come through. The lady who's come through, who is mum to you, who loved to have her hair done, I feel this lady was full of the joys of spring. Whatever happened that was difficult in her life, she would always put a smiley face on it. Do you understand? She would not try and burden other people with it as she would see it, you know. Now we know it's healthy to talk about those things, but she would have thought she was burdening people, yeah? So she always kept a bright disposition, a bright way about her, whatever she was going through. This is mum. And I want to say that you helped me a lot. As she's talking to me, she's saying, tell her I know she helped me a lot. And even at the end, it felt like I wasn't on my own. Do you understand?
Yes.
That I was cared for, I was loved, and I was held. And you used to smooth her hair when she was unwell, and she needed a bit of comfort. And one of the things you used to do was smooth her hair. And I feel that I'm planting a kiss on the cheek, and this is you, as she recalls it. Do you understand? But she says, let's put that aside and know that the person who has recently passed has been gathered up by us and the family. And we want you to know that we're going to look after them as they adjust to their new life. And I don't have them, I only have her, but I feel that the energy was coming in, trying, but is being held in the spirit world. Okay? Know that when they're ready, they will come through in their own right. But I've still got mum talking to me. And I feel that as she comes around you, it is that reassurance that this loss is only momentarily and communication will be restored. But I feel that when mum went to the spirit herself, she was half here and half there for a while. She was drifting. Do you understand?
She was Alzheimer's.
Yeah. She was drifting, and that's that little bit of confusion that I felt in the early part of the link. But she, in her spiritual self, knew what was going on. She, in her physical self, did not. And she wants to know that all of that care did not go to waste, because what you thought wasn't heard and understood at some level was. And she's telling me that you are the best. Okay? But you didn't just do it for her, you do it for anybody. There's a very caring nature that she's making me aware of with you. And as she's sort of catching her breath in the spirit world, and that she is enjoying her life now, she's back to her old self, full of zest, full of fun, full of the joys of life. That's what she wants you to know. That's what she wants to remember. Would you understand why she's talking about a little dog, please?
She used to have a dog many years ago.
She had a dog. Okay, so I feel that then she's telling me she has been reunited with that little creature, and that you yourself, as she's making me aware, that you yourself love the animal kingdom. You love the natural world. You like to be out with nature. You don't like to be stuck in. If you could be in the garden, you'd rather be in the garden than the house. Would you understand that? And as she's explaining this, she said in her earlier days that was her too. It's almost like there's a mirror between the two of you. She liked the natural world as well. Would you understand why she's giving me the name Arthur, please? She just put that into my energy as if to say, we've got Arthur coming forward from the spirit world. She's talking about brothers. Would you understand mum and brothers, please?
No, she was an only child.
Right. Are we going back a generation?
Possibly.
Okay. Then please look at mum's mum for brothers, because I feel the name of Arthur is somewhere placed there. This is...
Mum's mum was Ollie.
And mum's mum was the Olive. Lovely. Because I knew it wasn't her name, but I knew it was a name you should know. So let's go to Olive and look for the brothers, and perhaps check, if you can, a little bit of the family history. And there Arthur will be, either a first name or a second name. It's almost like it's giving you that extra thing. You have been asking the spirit world what the next step is in your spiritual journey, because life is what life is and you will deal with it. Does that make sense to you? And she's telling me it's all about just to unfold a little bit more because you've noticed changes in your energy. Is that correct? And you're wondering and you're feeling excited about where that's going to take you next. But she's saying that there is an opening. She's making me aware that there's an opening between you and the spirit world that is going to bring forth more unfoldment, but in a new direction. And that's as much as she's going to tell me. Wait for that confirmation of that. But she said it's almost like I loved surprises. Would you understand that?
Yeah.
She loved having surprises. If you said, Mum, I'm taking you out, you know, and we're going, and it was a surprise, she'd be glowing.
Yeah.
And she's saying, so the spirit world have a surprise for you. And I'm going to leave that with you. Is that my last?
Yeah. Thank you, Minister Kim. Time for a few notices. Tomorrow evening at 7:15 we invite you to return to the church here as our healing development evening continues with all our church healers, who are many in. Can I see your glowy paws, church healers? Thank you, that was lovely.
Never going to be at the last of that, you realise?
Oh no, ever. But if you'd like to receive healing, more than welcome. Just arrive for 7:15, and our wonderful team of healers here will be only too pleased to work with you. On Wednesday, 3 o'clock, we have a Divine Style service, which is a similar format to today's service, and that's going to be taken by Ivor Holland, who's coming down from Littlehampton to be with us. On Friday morning at 11 a.m, our bereavement group meets. This is a time, anybody who is anywhere on this bereavement path, we are more than welcome to come along and experience a bereavement group. It's a group of like-minded people. Each path of bereavement is totally unique, but by coming together with others in that similar energy at this time, can be beneficial if you allow it. So the doors open at 10:30 and the doors will close at 11:15 because once we get underway and talking, we don't want people just drifting in and out and everything. So you are more than welcome to that. That's this Friday morning. It's always on the last Friday in the calendar month at 11 a.m. And in the evening, we have an evening of paranormal investigation with Angie and Keith Freeland. They've offered to come in. They are paranormal investigators as well as Angie being a platform medium, and they will give a talk about some of their investigations they've carried out in the past. They will also bring in all the equipment that they use, so it's a very hands-on evening. So that starts at 7 o'clock and that will be £8 on the door. And those of you who are here who watched the church last night online, also it was just wonderful that meshing together, that Kim displayed some of the tools and equipment she uses when she does the paranormal investigation. So it's very much in the energy at the moment. Items coming up, we've got some wonderful courses and workshops for development opportunities here at Paul, both in the evidential mediumship, trance energies, and also within our healing. So please look on the website or on our Facebook page. We've got some exceptional tutors coming from home and abroad throughout the rest of the year. We've got some fun events coming up as well. In September, Friday the 23rd of September at 7 o'clock, we're having a wine tasting. Ooh, oh dear. It's going to be, it's a fun night. It's a wine tasting with a difference, and helped very much by the organisation of a lovely gentleman at the back of the church here, whose birthday it was yesterday. So after the closing prayer, I think we should have a round of happy birthday before you run out in embarrassment. But please do look on the website, look on our Facebook pages to see what's coming up here at the church. And I will hand over now to the wonderful Minister Kim for your closing blessing. Thank you.
Thank you. So friends, let's come together and take a breath and just come into that power one last time as we become once more aware of that loving presence as it moves through us and around us. Father God, we are your children. Help us to listen to the whispering of our soul, so that the guidance that is always there for us will come forward, shine a light on that pathway of life. Help us to be our authentic and true self and reflect the light and the love of Spirit to all those who have a need. Amen.
Amen. Minister Kim, personally and on behalf of the church, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank
It's
you,
my
thank
pleasure.
you. Beautiful service. We've had wonderful conversations. Thank you for being our online guest as well last night. Deeply, deeply appreciated. Thank you, Richard, for bringing your lady down here, and I look forward to your next visit.
Thank you.
And I won't say thank you for the champagne because that's our secret and we can't let anybody know. Thank you everybody for coming and attending today. Thank you too to those who have joined us online. Before we go, oh yeah, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ian. Happy birthday to you. Hooray.
Would you like, sir? Would you like, as you're only 21?
Plus that.
Yeah, plus that. Would you like a Kung Fu Panda sticker? I can't promise you cake and jelly, but I can give you a sticker.
Come along, Ian.
Stick it on his shirt.
Yeah, well, yes, we'll keep it clean. It's family day.
Do we get to choose?
I think that,
That one looks great.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to watch the Kung Fu Panda films now. I've never seen them.
They're all different and they're all good. Better than any badge.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Everybody, thank you so much for bringing your time, your energy and your presence here in this church and this community that you're building each and every week. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be part of this journey with you all. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Remember that superpower.
Definitely.
Just tied in very nicely throughout the universe. Happy birthday.